Hey friends. Welcome back. What steps can a couple take when one partner regrets marrying the other due to a lack of physical activity? Let's dive into this complex situation together. Hold on tight as we dive in and explore this emotional journey together.
Husband, 34M, says he regrets marrying me, 32F, due to my lack of physical activity. Where do we go from here? Hey everyone. I'm 32F married to 34M. We've been married 4 years and have a beautiful 2-year-old 2M. For our whole relationship, my level of physical activity has been a problem. My husband is very physically active. He used to play soccer, had to stop due to an injury, walks, bikes, hikes, etc. When we met, I also was reasonably physically active, but doing totally different activities, yoga, dance. We got married during COVID and I got pregnant relatively quickly. During pregnancy and since we've had our baby, now active, running around all the time toddler, I admit my physical activity has dropped to just functional things like childcare and walking around and running after our kid. I've done the odd dance workshop, but am definitely not doing any regular scheduled exercise each week. I am of average weight, BMI in normal range, and am net 8 pounds heavier than I was when my husband and I met. In the 4 years we've been married, besides pregnancy and postpartum, I've also had another minor abdominal surgery. Every few months, my husband and I will have a conversation in which he expresses that he's quite upset that my level of physical activity is so low, and that he wishes we were doing more active things together. Specifically, he'd love to hike more together. Hiking has never been an activity I've enjoyed, and since we've been married, my husband hasn't been hiking much either, although he used to do a lot more of it before. A couple weeks ago, we had this conversation again, and he said if he'd known this is where we'd be 4 years after marriage, and if he'd known this would be my baseline level of physical activity, he would have reconsidered getting married. Our sex life has been dead postpartum, and I think it's due to this. My reaction was that, 1, I am healthy and normal, and not on track for any kind of adverse outcome due to my health. 2, we have a good relationship other than this one point. He's a great and involved dad. We live in a beautiful place in a house we love, and I bring a lot to the table, make as much if not more dollar than him. Am a great mom, am loving and caring and kind to him. His reaction was that being of average health isn't enough. His expectation in a partner is that they be of above average health and activity, and he's not willing to reconsider that, but he does want to work on our marriage and relationship. For my part, I agree that I used to do more when we met, but it doesn't seem right that there's no allowance for the fact that in the 4 years we've been married, it's been COVID, pregnancy, postpartum, and another surgery for me. I do wish I was more physically active, but I don't know if I'll meet my husband's standards even if I tried. Our marriage feels like it's on the rocks, and my self-esteem is really low at this point. Where do we go from here?
What do you think? I'm curious. Let's hear your thoughts.
Go hiking and get one of those backpack carriers so he can tote the little one, and y'all can do a family home together. My husband always wore our babies on our family adventures after they weaned. I wore the nurslings in a soft, wide-shouldered wrap-style carrier. My back can't do the heavier kids, but my husband could, and it sounds like yours can as well. Go to a park with a walking track together, and let him jog with the baby in the stroller while you walk, and give him a big fat PDA-level smooch every time they lap you. Sign up for a geocache website, and go treasure hunting together. My kids always call it treasure hunting. Go for the big caches that have stuff inside. We collected buttons and left stickers each time and had fun doing that together. You guys are stuck in a rut and just need some creative thinking and out-of-the-box ideas for togetherness. By having him take on the burden of carrying or corralling the little one, you will get more of a break. Get into the fresh air and get sunshine. Vitamin D deficiency can really wreak havoc on libido, mood, and everything. And your mutual relationship will be healthier too. It doesn't have to look like it used to before kids, but it doesn't have to look like nothing. Figure out what you guys can do together and go from there. This is salvageable. Just brainstorm ways to make it work together. From a mom of 5 kids in 10 years who has been happily married for 20 years now. Honestly, I didn't start hiking for fun till my late 30s either. We did easy geocaches that didn't require too much time commitment, or we would find some while we were out camping in sanctioned parks. My parents didn't do many physical activities with us kids either. I wasn't really into team sports because we didn't have dollar in the budget for it when I was young. I've been an overweight or obese person most of my life because of poor activity habits. Now that I'm in my early 40s, it's been made a priority because life is just so much better this way. I started going to the gym 4x a week in February specifically for my mental health, but knowing I needed to for my overall health. I'm down just under 20 pounds and have way better habits overall. I'm in a northern climate, so hiking season is just starting off. Saturated regulated me too. I asked a boyfriend to teach me how to lift weights properly at 31. I had always been interested, but was always worried about doing it wrong or to look stupid. Well, that boyfriend taught me and I found out we were actually powerlifting, then dumped me at the gym one night on the drive home. I told myself I had to start saying yes to things. I went to the gym the next morning and saw a chick decked out in powerlifting gear. I'd never seen someone doing the same thing as me, so I went up and said hi to her. She was so kind and told me that I should join this powerlifting competition coming up in 6 weeks. My stomach churned, but I remembered the commitment to myself that I'd say yes to things. I did my first competition and met the man who became my coach that day in 2014. I only stopped powerlifting in 2022 after finding out I needed back surgery, but I'd made it all the way to competing in world's level meets. I traveled out of state to compete a few times and still hold some state and national records. Then I tried hiking, rock climbing, mountain biking, and pretty much anything else I could. I always told myself with lifting, I just want to find out what my body is capable of, and that translated to everything else. Oh, and all of this was done being over 200 pounds. I live in the desert, so we're coming into our hibernation months because it is too hot outside. But I still get my workouts done in my home gym, with an A or C unit out here in my enclosed patio, and still take my dog for about an hour walk a day. Today I had to get up at 5 a.m. to make sure it wasn't too hot. Oh, and we'll go swimming later too. Being active is a gift.
What an inspiring journey shared by our community. From discovering powerlifting to embracing new outdoor adventures, these stories remind us that it's never too late to prioritize our health and happiness. Now, let's delve into the profound impact of staying active and the boundless possibilities it brings.
I also am not an outdoorsy person and didn't start hiking until my 30s. I don't get much satisfaction from completion or finding a view or anything like that. What really set off my passion, and now I hike several days a week outside of winter, was mushroom foraging. Kind of the same idea of a geocache and finding something, but less dependent on other people. Obviously get a guidebook and do lots of research before eating anything you find, but foraging was like unlocking outdoorsiness for me. Suddenly it felt like there was a point in what I was doing. As someone with chronic illnesses, I felt this deeply. Opie needs to figure out why physical activity is not happening. Pregnancy, postpartum, and surgery are all major things for her body to go through, and she deserves grace as she tries to get back to some kind of equilibrium. And I'd be curious to know how much domestic labor and childcare are evenly split between Opie and her husband, since it sounds like both are working outside the home as well. If Opie's husband wants her to expend more energy on physical activity, I wonder if there are other things he could take off her plate to make room for that. Physical activity is important, and certainly very important to Opie's husband, but there's a lot that can get in the way. As you said, this will work better if both partners work as a team to find a solution both can be happy with, giving each other as much grace and understanding as possible. Can I just say I hate that every woman I know, and the women in so many of these posts on Reddit, know exactly how much they weighed when they met their husbands, when they got married, an exact weight gain and loss before and after each kid. Maybe men know their weights at these points too, but they don't have whole conversations about it like it's a normal stat they are supposed to report publicly to defend their right to have feelings. Look, you report you are a great mom, you treat your husband well, you make good money, and your health is fine. Does your husband acknowledge those things? Is your husband asking you to do more active things with him because he misses doing them together? Or is this more like he has a list of standards for you, and he needs to check off this one last item for you to be acceptable? You say he's an involved father. Does he actually give you time to go be active? Does he acknowledge that toddlers are exhausting and that you may not have the energy to do activities you would normally do? Best case scenario, you guys just need to go for a hike every weekend as a family. Worst case scenario, your husband is negging you to make himself feel good. Ruby June Rocket. We don't know what hiking means in this context. It could be a short hike on an easy path, or this guy could be like, let's hike a 7-mile loop and scrabble down screen for half of it. For some people, camping is serious business. For others, it's glamping, so you can't really draw conclusions from just hiking in terms of the expected level of activities.
Wow, talk about hitting the nail on the head. It's frustrating how weight metrics seem to dominate conversations, especially when it comes to women. Now, let's take a moment to dissect these insights and see how they shape our understanding of the situation.
This is a valid point. Is he talking about a few hours hiking up and down a small mountain on a well-traveled path? Or does his idea of a hike involve strapping yourself into a safety harness and scaling rock walls? If he's into more strenuous hiking, is he willing to do more family-friendly hikes so they can go together? What's his attitude about hiking? Gentle strolling while taking pictures of flowers, or drill sergeant pushing himself to the limit, expecting her to keep up? My family are all pretty serious hikers, but when the hiking trip involves smaller kids, the hikes get adjusted to accommodate them. A few hours up a walking path, with a stop for lunch at the top, is doable for a 5-year-old, especially if you're also packing a baby and a toddler on your backs. Scaling Mt. Rainier? Not so much. Fat Scott. You do realize that your husband wants to be with you, wants to be active with you, wants you to grow old together in a healthy way? Would you rather he stops asking you, stops wanting to do things with you? Because he can and probably will. You already. Right. The husband is really showing his ableist true colors. He wants someone of above average health and activity. What happens if she ever gets sick? Is he just going to drop her? These other commenters have seriously glossed over this.
Wow, we've uncovered some seriously juicy insights today, haven't we? Before we wrap up, let's take a moment to hear from our viewers. Their insights might just shed some light on this complex situation.
Try to do daily walks together with your kid, or sign up for yoga or dance classes or whatever you want and have him watch the kid and clean the house while you're away. I bet he'll suddenly understand that chasing after kids and cleaning is active, and also selfishly stop pushing you to keep doing so because it's inconvenient for him. You could also retry some of the things he likes, because maybe he's missing the lifestyle or his view of himself as part of an active family. If he signs up for intramural soccer and you and the kid do attend to cheer him on, or if you do a family 5K and he carries the KD or pushes a stroller, etc. Earth Girls res. Is there a specific reason people are placing such an inordinate amount of blame on Op? Is there a reason everyone thinks her husband is right in telling her he wishes he never married her? Does the fact that she gave birth and had surgery mean so little to you fucking freaks? It's like you read about a woman putting in clear effort into her marriage and immediately get triggered at the thought that her apparently super fit husband deserves better than 8 pounds over the weight he met her at. How about he takes care of his fucking children so this woman has some time to actually be active? How about he meets her at her level and takes her dancing? How about not telling the mother of your children you regret marrying her? Or does her being active count less than everything else about her as a person? It seems a lot of these comments are breezing past this comment. It doesn't seem right that there's no allowance for the fact that in the 4 years we've been married, it's been COVID, pregnancy, postpartum, and another surgery for me. This is unkind of your husband. You don't like hiking. What about baby steps together going for a walk? Or how about he does childcare while you take a yoga class? But what I think, most of all, is that you both need couples therapy because I don't think he's hearing you when you tell him this. What your body has gone through is a lot. Exactly. People are skipping over the fact that she is a whole human that has been through a lot. She's exhausted and has every right to feel that way.
How crucial is physical compatibility in a marriage, and where do we draw the line between compromise and personal boundaries? Thanks for tuning in, friends. Don't forget to leave your thoughts on the comments. Until next time.